Philippines, the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines, RA number 11232. This is now the general law on corporation, which was passed in 2019. So before we dive into the different bar topics, let's have a brief introduction as to why there were revisions introduced to the Corporation Code as a prelude to a discussion of the law. What were the factors that influenced the passage of the revised Corporation Code? The RCC, or the Revised Corporation Code, is a consolidation of these two bills from the Senate and from the House of Representatives. Specifically, Senate Bill number 1280 and House Bill number 8374. These bills both aimed at increasing competitiveness and improving ease of business. So as you will see later on, several provisions were really aimed on ease of doing business. And these bills were introduced based on the background that the country slipped to rank 124th from rank 113th out of 190 economies. And this is based on the survey of the World Bank, the Doing Business 2019. So in this report, really the ranking of the Philippines is a bit low. That's why with these two Senate bills, the country aims at or incorporating in our corporation code the best practices observed by other jurisdictions. Now in this report, by documenting changes in regulation in 12 areas of business activity in the said economies, Doing Business analyzes regulation that encourages efficiency and supports freedom to do business, as it measures how easy or difficult it is for an entrepreneur to open, manage, and operate his business, and how such business may readily comply with regulations. So these bills, well, basically focus on how provisions could be introduced to ease the doing of business in the Philippines, specifically in this kind of business organization, corporation. Okay. Now, these are the reform clusters for enhanced business environment. We already mentioned about the ease of doing business. And in Senate Bill number 1280, four main reform clusters were mentioned. First, policies that would enhance the ease of doing business in the Philippines, or these are the policies aimed at streamlining business operations and reduce the hurdles of the bureaucratic processes. Second, rules that prioritize corporate and stockholder protection, or the rules to safeguard the interests of corporate entities and their investors. A third, provisions that instill a corporate and civic responsibility, or the provisions encouraging ethical practices and community engagement. It is another way of saying that through the revision, the state is reminding business owners to also give back to the community and observe ethical standards, hindi lang puro pera. And lastly, amendments that will strengthen the country's policy and the regulatory corporate framework. Now, when the revised corporation code was adopted in February 2019, the ranking of the Philippines improved, as such adoption resulted to a 29-notch jump. So the Philippines is now ranked 95th as per the Doing Business 2020 report. So based on the report, the Philippines improved in three areas: okay? Starting a business, dealing with construction permits, and protecting minority investors. So as far as improvement in starting a business, it became easier in the Philippines through the revision because it abolished minimum capital requirement for domestic corporations. Well, as far as dealing with construction permits, it was made easier by the RCC by improving coordination and streamlining the process for obtaining an occupancy certificate. And as far as protecting minority investors, the RCC strengthened the same by requiring greater disclosure of transactions with interested parties and enhancing director liability for transactions with interested parties. Well, there were problems then in the old corporation code as far as how minority investors could be heard and how they could also participate in the management of a corporation. But with the RCC now, they to some extent have a voice already in the corporation through these, provisions that strengthened their participation in the corporation. Now, the SEC considers the adoption of the RCC as a big step forward. It's a positive improvement, development from this 40-year-old Batas Pambansa bilang 68 or the now old Corporation Code as it changed, it revised provisions that have become obsolete and even hindersome in the fast-paced and highly competitive environment. So according to SEC, overall, the new code fosters inclusive entrepreneurship, improves the ease of doing business in the country, and subsequently the economy's competitiveness, promotes good corporate governance, and increases protection afforded to corporations, investors, and other stakeholders through progressive provisions. So if you're asked, okay, what, according to SEC, were the improvements that are introduced in the revised corporation code that made the Philippines competitive and at par with other jurisdictions. So these are, well, apparently the pillars, okay, that help rejuvenate the corporation law in the Philippines. Inclusive entrepreneurship, ease of doing business, economic competitiveness, good corporate governance, and stakeholder protection. Now, as far as ease of doing business and how this was enhanced by the RCC, the code introduced a number of provisions which seek to enhance ease of doing business and to keep it up to date and relevant. For most of these changes, they are number one, the one-person corporation. Second, the reduction of the number of incorporators and directors, the removal of the capital requirement, the 25% requirement on subscription in paid-in capital during incorporation. Wala na po yun. As well as the introduction of perpetual existence. The perpetual corporate term which allows corporations to exist indefinitely without renewal. So if you're asked, what were the reforms that specifically enhancing ease of doing business in the Philippines in the RCC? So these are the four areas or key reform areas introduced by the RCC. The one-person corporation, a reduced number of incorporators, no capital requirement, and perpetual term. Now, just to give you an insight, before it was difficult or burdensome to do business through a corporation because you need a minimum number of incorporators. But with the concept of one-person corporation, even a single individual can now start a corporation. Mas madali na. Also before, may capital requirement. In the subscriptions made to the public, you need 25% of it to be paid up. Ngayon, wala na po yan. And also, for old corporation, ang nagiging problema is hindi nila mahabol yung pag-submit ng mga documentary requirements pag malapit na mag-expire yung term ng corporation. Kaya napapabayaan, leading to penalties and even failure in the operations of the corporation. But with this concept of perpetual existence, no need for renewals on the part of the corporation. Thus, all of this contributed to the ease of doing business in a corporation. Again, just to give you an idea of this one-person corporation, I know you already encountered this. Just a review. So indeed, the OPC, the one-person corporation, is one of the most talked about amendments in the new code. Okay, this consists of a single stockholder who must either be a natural person, a trust, or estate. Take note of that an OPC is a stock corporation. Stock corporation po yan, and there is only a single stockholder. That stockholder is any of these three. Okay? So the stockholder need not be a natural person in an OPC. It could also be a trust or estate. Now, SEC clarified the meaning of trust as among the possible single stockholders in an OPC. And this trust, the term trust, does not refer to a trust entity, does not refer to this entity usually associated with financing alongside banks, quasi-banks, pre-need, public and publicly assisted companies, etc. But it refers to the subject being managed by a trustee. That's the trust being referred to, which could possibly be a single stockholder.